Throughout most of the course of human history, intelligence was taught to be a uniquely human characteristic. But in the beginning of the 20th century, armed with the empirical evidence of a dog's drool, Ivan Pavlov sparked a revolution in the study of the inner workings of the minds of other species. Not limited to only mammals and birds, mind you, but even mollusks, like octopuses. Paul the octopus from Germany successfully predicted the outcome of all 7 of Germany's World Cup matches, in addition to picking Spain to beat the Netherlands in the final match. In making each selection, Paul was presented with 2 clear plastic containers containing food, each marked with a different team's national flag. Whichever box Paul went for first was judged to be Paul's pick to win the 2010 World Cup match, as you may have heard. Paul's seemingly uncanny ability to pick winners and the circumstances under which those picks were made have been met with deserving criticism. What about the explanation of pure chance? While I'm not ruling out but not convinced that there are precognizant cephalopods, perhaps their intelligence is worthy of consideration. And by worthy, I do mean worthy. Octopuses, yes, octopuses and not octopi, are the only mollusks ever observed using tools. Last December, marine biologist Julian Finn published findings of octopuses collecting used coconut shells, stacking them up and then carrying them around to later use for shelter. They've also been proven capable of observational learning. In a study by Italian researchers Graziano Fiorito and Pietro Scotto published in the journal Science in 1992, untrained octopuses were allowed to observe trained octopuses perform certain tasks, selecting objects. The untrained octopuses consistently selected the same objects as the trained octopuses did. And you cannot deny, octopuses are great at multitasking. There's also the popular story of the octopus that left her tank each night to snack on fish from the other tanks before returning to her own, leaving only a damp trail to finally give her away. The story appeared once in Discover magazine in 2003 and was debated inconclusively in the Snopes forums in 2007. But when Boing Boing asked James Wood, PhD Director of Education at the Aquarium of the Pacific in Long Beach, California about it, he said, "This kind of stuff happens all the time." And then there's that octopus that caused a flood inside the Santa Monica Pier Aquarium. After loosening a valve in its tank in 2009, National Geographic noted that this was, quote, typical. So is a mischievous personality typical for an octopus? Do they even have personalities? In 1997, marine biologists Jennifer A. Mather and Roland C. Anderson identified 19 different octopus behaviors in 3 groups: avoidance, activity, and reactivity. Each individual octopus they tested seemed to display varying traits, some more timid, some more curious, some more defensive. But Mather and Anderson's work came under fire as too anthropomorphic, for a word like personality carries too many human connotations for some scientists' tastes. So, no big deal. Portland State's David Sin expanded upon Mather and Anderson's experiment, nixed the word personality in favor of the more discrete temperamental traits, and concluded that there was a considerable amount of variation among each specimen. But Sin's findings directly conflict with another new study by Renata Pronk and colleagues at Macquarie University in Sydney. When Pronk's octopuses were shown different images on LCD monitors, they reacted as though they were seeing the real things. When shown the same images on CRT monitors, they didn't react at all. And while you don't need an octopus to tell you that a nice new LCD screen is better than a crappy old CRT monitor, the team also observed that there was no consistency in how each octopus reacted. Individuals who were more passive one day were more aggressive on another. If octopuses do think about things like sports matches or messing things up, they could likely get emotional too, especially with the sudden news that Paul is retiring from the football predicting business. A press release was sent from Paul's home this week at the Oberhausen Sea Life Center in Germany, announcing that the Oracle deserves a nice retirement. But it also sounds like we may be hearing from Paul again sooner than later. Marketers from all over are literally drooling at the chance to get Paul associated with their brands. Coke versus Pepsi? Paul could make millions just choosing Coke and doing commercials. Brand endorsements, he could have his own children's clothing line, book series, stopping at nothing short of aquatic theme parks and ocean hotels. The US could even turn the Pentagon into an octagon. So the moral of this story is simple. If you choose to get an octopus for a pet, don't be surprised if it's plotting and scheming behind your back without an inkling of remorse. My best advice is to get it an HD TV, teach it to watch football, name him Ringo, and give Paul a run for his money.